Mercurial, take your speed to the streets. Totally made that up, but it does sound like something Nike would say. What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new indoor Nike Mercurial Vapor 13 Pro, the second tier option in the new Mercurial indoor lineup with a retail price of $110. Now, the way Nike structures the indoor and turf boots for the Mercurial series is a little bit confusing. You still have the Elite Pro and Academy tiers, but obviously the Mercurial line is split into two separate categories, the low-cut Vapor and the mid-cut Superfly. With the indoor boots, they don't offer every variation at every single price point. So there is an Elite tier model, but it's only available as a Superfly 7 Elite with, of course, the mid-cut collar. Then dropping down to the Pro tier, you only have the Vapor as an option, which is what I have right here. And unlike the Elite tier model that does have a fly-knit upper that more closely matches the football boots that most people will be buying, the Vapor 13 Pro does not feature the same circular mesh or fly-knit upper that you'd find on the Vapor 13 Pro football boots. Instead, it is something completely different and a slight evolution of what we saw first introduced from the previous generation Vapor 12 Pro indoors. It's a lot to handle, but let me explain. Very confusing. So I guess to keep things short and sweet, I think these are very good, and I'm going to explain why in today's video. So if you want to learn more about these, including how they fit and feel on feet, please stick around and watch the whole review. And if you're interested in a pair for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick them up below their normal $110 retail price. If you guys do end up enjoying this video and perhaps would like to see more indoor and turf boot reviews on the channel, don't forget to support this one with a like and let me know specifically what you want to see down below in the comment section. Also, if you're new here watching for the first time and don't want to miss out on daily content from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. So we'll start with the upper, which has been redesigned in comparison to the Vapor 12 Pro that these replace, but ultimately ends up feeling very similar because it still utilizes all of the same elements. This upper is what Nike refers to as a Hyperscreen material, which is basically a mesh-based synthetic with fused overlays in very specific patterns that kind of are more dense along the edges of the boot where the upper meets the sole for the sake of added structure as well as better durability. Then you can see that pattern, which is kind of like this oval shape, opens up a little bit more as you get to the more touch-oriented parts of the upper. Now, the main reason why this fuse on the surface is there is one, for added structure, and two, for the sake of adding a little bit of additional grip on the ball, because if they just left it as exposed mesh, it would be pretty slippery. The end result is a touch that is very thin. The upper is extremely soft because it is a mesh-based synthetic. The way that this pattern and reinforcement works means that you don't really have a lot of hard spots or added structure to the upper, even though the structure necessary is still there. And honestly, it just has a very nice natural sensation. I wouldn't mind seeing this upper on an actual football boot from Nike, not just on indoor models, which is pretty much the only place we're seeing them use this at the moment. But as a whole, especially for the $110 price tag, if you like thin boots, there's a lot to like about this upper. I also wanted to point out that ACC is not listed in the tech specs for this particular boot. However, it is worth noting that ACC is completely invisible, and Nike has made the choice of not putting any ACC branding on any Mercurials, regardless of whether or not they do in fact have ACC technology. So does the Vapor 13 Pro Indoor have ACC? I mean, it might. Despite not having a knitted upper like the Elite and Pro tier Vapor 13 football boots, the Vapor 13 Pro Indoor still features a one-piece construction where the central portion of the upper where the laces are positioned is filled in with this kind of more open, stretchy mesh material, which feels quite good across the top of your foot and is also very soft, kind of matching the thickness and overall touch across the rest of the upper. Again, the laces run down the middle as they do on pretty much any pair of Mercurials, and just like the rest of the Vapor models, it does maintain a low-cut construction with, as you can see, a design very similar to what we used to see from the Elastico series from Nike that a lot of people are upset doesn't exist anymore. Basically, this is a continuation of what they were doing with that line. This very well could be a Nike Elastico Pro if you wanted to call it that. There is an internal plastic heel counter, and you will notice the internal liner is a really, really soft synthetic suede material that feels quite good, although it is a little bit slick on the socks. The insoles are fully removable, and as you can see, feature a pretty standard mesh liner on top. It's a little bit thicker than the average football boot insole, which is pretty common for indoor and turf boots, and it's made out of this very spongy red foam material that actually feels pretty decent. As for the midsole and outsole, at least when you're talking about the indoor version, because there is a turf model available as well that does feature a little bit of a different construction in this area of the boot, it does feature a full-length foam midsole that runs from heel to toe. They have not specified the foam that they have used here. I couldn't find that information anywhere, but it feels pretty ordinary. It's certainly not a lunar lawn, if that's something that you're wondering. It doesn't feel like React either. If I had to guess, it's probably Phylon. It might just be something very generic. Who knows? Either way, it's relatively low profile and provides about the amount of cushioning that you would want from this style of indoor boot. I don't think people who are buying this want to have a ton of extra cushioning. This has a very firm ride and feels nice and close to the ground, which I think is what this should have for this style of indoor. As far as the outsole is concerned, that has also been redesigned in comparison to the previous generation with a brand new traction pattern that I just like a lot more. You can see it's basically little strips of material that run in seemingly random patterns throughout the entire boot. I'm sure that it's not random though. I'm sure everything here is very strategic, and the fact that it's just small little flex grooves throughout, it means that the traction is actually very, very good. I think this is an improvement over what they were doing before. Because you have so many little breaks in the traction pattern, it's very difficult for it to get clogged up with dust and all kinds of other debris that you're going to find on most indoor courts. If the court is really dusty, you're still going to have to wipe a lot, but on a clean court, the traction that you get from this is actually really good. I also like the fact that they added some flex grooves through the forefoot as well, because the flexibility of this football boot, as it should have with this super soft upper, is really good, giving these a very natural sensation when running while also keeping you very close to the ground. When it comes to weight, being that this is a Mercurial, you expect it to be light, and it is for the most part. In a size 9.5 US, you can see the Mercurial Vapor 13 Pro Indoor weighs in at 8.3 ounces, the equivalent of 236 grams, which is obviously not as lightweight as what you'll find from the Vapor 13 Pro or Elite football boots, but that is to be expected, and given the fact that this has pretty much none of the same elements as those boots, shouldn't be too surprising. The mesh base upper is very light, but having a midsole as well as all the rubber to the outsole is going to add weight to the boot. So for an indoor model, especially if you're looking for something light, this is definitely on the lighter side. So I've swapped out the stock blue laces that admittedly look fine. Obviously it matches the upper of the boots for some white reflective SR4U replacement laces that make all of the white accents on the boot pop that much more. Plus you have the reflective bits, which I always like the look of. It's a great way of changing up the style of your boots in a very inexpensive way, especially if you choose to wear these casually, which a lot of people do. If you want to make yours different from everyone else, the website to check out is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in some for yourself, be sure to go ahead and check that out. On feet, the Vapor 13 Pro feels really, really good. The mesh upper is soft, it's flexible. There's really no stiffness to it at all, so there's pretty much nothing to break in with this particular boot. The foam midsole has some nice underfoot cushioning to it while still maintaining a very low profile feel. Don't expect any kind of running shoe levels of cushioning though. They've got good flexibility overall, and again, they kind of just feel like a pair of socks with some added structure to them. Certainly not as responsive though as what you'll find from some of the football boot variants, certainly the Flyknit upper that you find on the Elite model. As far as the overall fit and width is concerned, it's a Mercurial, so it does have a tight overall fit. Definitely not super narrow though. I think as long as you don't have really wide feet, these will fit most people quite comfortably. Just expect a snug fit overall, pretty much no matter what. And as far as the sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, this is a really solid pair of indoors that I can strongly recommend, especially if you're after the best value for money option within the new Mercurial indoor lineup. I will say, however, that's not really a major design change in comparison to the Vapor 12 Pro indoors that these replace. It has pretty much all the same elements, and the end result is a boot that feels very, very similar in almost every single way, aside from what I would argue is slightly improved traction on this new Vapor 13 Pro. Other than that, I think if you are on a little bit of a budget or just don't want to spend a ton of money on indoors and you're looking for that Mercurial experience and feel from a pair of indoor or turf boots, the Vapor 13 Pro is definitely what you should consider. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, either the indoor or turf variation, you can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $110 retail price. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.